Well, good afternoon and welcome to Desert Springs here in Almeria in Spain's sunny Andalusia. You join us for match 4 of the Celtic Challenge. The Scottish women visiting the Irish women here in this very sunny corner of Ireland in southeast Spain. Match 4 is the first of the 2 T20s in the 5-match Celtic Challenge series. Just a quick recap on where we are in the series and then I will join the action live. We are at the moment 2-1 to Ireland in the 5-match challenge. Scotland won the first of the 50-over ODIs. Ireland won the next 2. And we have started very, very promptly here. And we're already into the action. I will bring you the action as we go. Scotland won the toss, elected to bat. The Scotland bats we have out there are Chatterjee and Carter. We're still in the first over. 3 balls into the over, so 4 balls into the over. Very surprised not to see Catherine Bryce up there in the opening position. She has been the big run scorer of this series so far. So Chatterjee and Carter have been tasked with getting Scotland off to a fast start. In team news from Ireland, no great surprises for Ireland, but one debut, T20 debut for Alana Dalzell. She's forced her way into the T20 side. She played the first of the 1 days. Oh, we'll come back to that in a second because we have live action there. A very ambitious shot, and it's a drop. It went straight to the fielder there at deep square leg, and it was put down at the end of the first over. A lot to catch up on there. As I say, we've started the action right promptly on time before the cameras actually went live. So 1 over down, Scotland batting, 5 for no loss. Chatterjee and Carter are the batters out there. The first over there delivered by Ava Canning. 6 off it. Right, I've given you enough background. Let's go straight to live action. And I will continue with ball by ball coverage. So Carter facing, right-handed, very low stance. Ball whipped in a little bit leg side. The umpire said, yeah, that's too leggy for me. And there's 1 extra. So just running down the Ireland team we have today. Laura Delaney, captain in, obviously. Ava Canning, Alana Dalzell, we've discussed. Georgina Dempsey, Amy Hunter, Arlene Kelly, Louise Little, Gabby Lewis. Joanna Loughran is subbing today, hasn't made her way into the team. Sophie McMahon, Cara Murray and Orla Prendergast. Again, a play and a miss. And Alana Dalzell, she's got a very bustly run up. She means business when she comes in. A little bit short. Carter goes for the pull but can only mistime it out to long on, and there is no run. At this stage, just looking at the fielders, we have 2 in the deep. We've got a offside sweeper, and we have a fielder down deep backward square leg. Apart from that, everybody in the ring. Carter had to reach for that, but the umpire wasn't interested in a wide. After that initial wide, quite a tidy over from Alana Dalzell. She's at the top of her and up again, and in she comes. And a big heave to leg, but again, Very nicely cut out at mid-wicket. Looks as if it might have gone left. Very, very nicely fielded there by Arlene Kelly. Just for the single. And Chatterjee is facing 3 runs so far off the 2 balls she's faced. Gives it a charge, well cut out. That extra cover. Nice fielding, nicely tidied up as well by Sophie McMahon. There's 1 ball to come due to that wide at the top of the over. But very tidy opening spell here from Alana Dalzell. She can keep it tidy for the last one. In consultation with her captain at the moment. There is a tweak of the field. There is a fielder gone down on the 1, very fine behind square on the leg side. And that is beautiful captaincy, beautiful bowling. Anticipated the funky scoop shot, and Alana Dalzell takes another wicket. She took a wicket on her debut in the one-dayers, and she's taken a wicket on debut in her very first over in T20 cricket. It's an easy game, isn't it? So Chatterjee stomps back towards the pavilion. That was just inspired captaincy. Laura Delaney went across, spoke to Alana Dalzell before that ball. They concocted a plan, they put a fielder down there, and it could not have gone any better if they'd spent the entire weekend rehearsing it. Who knows, perhaps they did. So at the end of the over, 8 for 1 off 2. Excellent start by Ireland in the field. Again, a very busy captain, Laura Delaney, down there, deciding what she wants, talking to her bowlers. Darcy Carter is the new batter. And she has a little look at one. Wasn't quite as wide as she thought it was going to be. Tramped herself a room, and in the end, a play and miss. A dot ball. And Ireland keeping it very, very tight in these opening overs. A bit of a heave. I'm looking at the umpire. Did it come off bat? Did it come off pad? The umpire is saying leg by, but it's still a run. And a very much needed run from Scotland. They haven't got going at all yet. Catherine Bryce is there. I think I might have misled you just now. Catherine Bryce has come out to bat now. She has been the main run scorer for Scotland as she gets off the mark with a nice push out through mid-wicket. Yes, in the 3 one-day games, to give an idea how important Catherine Bryce is to the Scotland batting, she scored over a third of all the runs that came off the bat of Catherine Bryce. Shows she is vital to Scotland's success. Darcy Carter facing now. Has a big heave, and that is big enough to clear the rope, and that is a very, very big 6. The fielder at deep mid-wicket can only watch it sail over her head. We're a fair old distance from the pavilion with the way the track is today, and that reached all the way to the pavilion and is thrown back to the fielder and then thrown in. That's a long, long hit. That was very, very well timed. Darcy Carter meaning business. tries to repeat it, doesn't time it at all, bottom edge and just to the fielder, back of square leg, and there is no run. David Canning comes in again. Good ball, big heave again. But nothing on it. It's the end of an over. There was something for everybody in that over. A very, very big 6 from Carter. And it brings the score up to 16 for 1 of 3. So Scotland finally getting in the runs, finally getting a boundary. 8 off the over. And again, Delaney, as I say, very, very busy. She's right down the other end, talking to her bowlers again. Alana Dalzell's still got the ball in her hand. Let's see if there's been any tweaks to the field. We've still got that fielder who was placed for the scoop shot, who took the catch at the end of the last over. So we've got 3 out in the deep because the deep square leg fielder has been brought up to allow an deep extra cover sweeper. Let's see what Alana Dalzell can do. Just out the point fielder. There is no run. Alana Dalzell must be on top of the world at the moment. The game seems so easy for her at the moment. The confidence of the young girl. I say young girl, being patronising, isn't it? But a talented youngster who has a very, very bright future in front of her. Bit of width, big swing of the bat, playing a miss. 2 dot balls to start the over. Dalzell continuing where she left off in the last over. There's a lot of buzz in the field from the Ireland fielders. Dalzell comes in again. Generating good pace, although that kept low. I don't know what you do as a batter in circumstances like that. It looked as if it was there for the drive, but just skidded through. The track didn't really misbehave. We're on a different track than we were last week. We're a good 4 or 5 tracks away, further away from the pavilion this week, but it looked a very good track when I had a little look at it earlier. But that one did keep low, and that'll be in the minds of all the batters. And that, it's a simple game. It was a bit of width there. Didn't get over that at all. Very, very uppish. Out there to the point fielder. And Alana Dalzell is having a day in the sunshine. And why not? All the teammates there in to congratulate her. What can you say? So she came in for the 3rd of the one days, the 50 over one day internationals last week, forced away into the side, did enough in that match, taking 1 wicket, I think for 44 in her spell, and she is rewarding the faith of the spectators, of the selectors, in a very, very impressive manner this morning. Wow. Laura Delaney is just standing there now at mid-off, not speaking to a bowler because she's thinking this kid can do anything. So, Sarah Bryce, can she score the runs that Scotland were hoping Catherine Bryce would score? That has left a very, very big pair of boots to fill. Say Catherine Bryce head and shoulders in terms of batting above the other Scotland women last week in the 3 one-dayers. Sarah Bryce also keeps wicket. Nice looking shot, gets forward, gets right over it, but all she can do is push it down to mid-off. Another excellent over for Milana Dalzell. Unless I'm very much mistaken, which happens from time to time, let's face it, but I think that was a wicket maiden, which at this stage of the game is, well, it doesn't get any better, does it? What does Scotland do? 2 wickets down and 2 big wickets down. They've got to somehow grab this game by the scruff of the neck and assert themselves. Darcy Carter is facing. She scored 10 off her 13, so she's in. And that is a big hit out towards long on. The fielder gets there in time and they just trot through for 1 run. But a nice looking shot by Carter. And she's going to need to play a few more of those and find the gaps if Scotland are going to set a testing target. Sarah Bryce takes a guard, waits for Ava Canning to come in, and again plays a shot that perhaps the ball wasn't wide enough for, and she's very lucky not to get an edge through to the keeper. Ava Canning comes in again. Fuller ball, slower ball, well picked by Sarah Bryce. Just works it out through square leg and they trot through for another single. If they are going to deal in singles, they're going to need to rotate the strike, because as we know, there are some big batters in the Ireland side. They've enjoyed themselves in the one-dayers, and they will certainly enjoy themselves in these perfect batting conditions here at Almeria. That 1 bounce, 4 runs, just fetched backward square leg, and that's what Scotland need. That seemed effortless, didn't it? Slightly loose ball, but Darcy Carter, who is seeing the ball very well now, 4 runs, and it's going to go up to 22 for 2 in the 5th over. Darcy Carter plays an almost identical shot, slightly different ball and slightly squarer, but 4 more runs, or 1 bounce 4 again. And this is what Scotland needed. Ava Canning struggling a little bit with length. Last 2 have both been a little bit short. It's a very, very windy day. Whether that will affect the bowlers, it's hard to know. The wind, though, is right across the pitch, left to right. Again, another big swing of the bat, straight to the fielder, but very well run by Scotland. And they scamper through for another single. And this is what they've got to do. They've got to get the 4s, but they've also got to keep rotating the strike. Bit of an expensive one there for Ava Canning. 27 for 2 after 5. Just to mention again, I mentioned that it is quite blowy here, but it really is a perfect day for cricket, and this is the reason why Ireland are playing some home matches down here in southeastern Spain. It's just glorious weather. It extends the season spectacularly by a number of months coming down here. I think the plan is to play a number of matches next season down here as well. And what a lovely home from home it is. The players have settled in very well into effectively what's a village here. It's a sports complex, so it's all an artificial village, but they've all settled in well. They're enjoying their time down here. And there's a young lady who's very much enjoying her time down here now. Alana Dalzell comes in again. Oh, and again, that just kept a little low. Well kept out. Oh, another one kept a little low. Just pushed out into the covers, through for a single. That is just the 4th run that Alana Dalzell has conceded, and we're in the 6th over of the innings. A dream start on a T20 debut. That's a nice shot. Got to the pitch of it, pushed out extra cover, but there is a deep fielder on the extra cover boundary sweeping. We've got 2 sweepers on the offside, one at cover point and one at deep extra cover. No deep fielders as far as I can see on the leg side. Ow. Good length, almost Yorker length, but dug out well by Darcy Carter. She's looking well in control, Darcy Carter. She's played some big shots. She's kept out some good balls. And certainly one of these 2 batters is going to need to go on and make a few to set a testing target. Early days though, only in the 6th over. Anything can happen in T20, as we know. Now that's run all the way down to the boundary. Was that off bat or was that off pad? That was off the bat. 4 runs, very nicely done. Again, Scotland will be very grateful for those. Alana Dalzell will be thinking, you don't do that to me. Excuse me, I'm having a dream debut. What do you think you're doing, scoring 4 runs off me? But that's cricket, and that's T20 cricket. In she comes again. Straight ball on the pads, and Darcy Carter just pushes that out to mid-wicket. There is no run. It's the end of the 6th over. 33 for 2 is the score. Sarah Bryce yet to get going, 2 of 5 balls, but Darcy Carter on 25. Now we have a change of bowling at the far end. It looks to be Arlene Kelly. Indeed it is. The wise head of Arlene Kelly. Let's see if she can stem some of the runs that were flying from that end the previous over. A big heave out to extra cover, just the one. And the field switches round. So, Kelly to Carter. That's a very good ball. No, the umpire is saying a little bit too wide for me. And what looked a good ball from my vantage point where I'm sitting goes down as 1 extra. Such are the fine margins. In comes Kelly again. And not a lot of width to work with on that. That looked very tight indeed, and that is the last thing Scotland needed. Very, very sharp fielding in the ring. I couldn't see who the fielder was there. I'll let you know as soon as I can tell. But yeah, even though Scotland set off straight away, Darcy Carter said, yes, I'm having one. And it wasn't really there, was it? It really wasn't there. Well, everything is going Ireland's way at the moment. 35 for 3. We're in the 7th over. There's the worm. It's not a particularly wiggly worm at the moment, is it? So, 3rd wicket goes down. And somebody is going to need, 1, to support Darcy Carter, but 2, to be very, very aware of Darcy Carter's calls for quick singles. The new batter is Lorna Jack. Lorna Jack takes a guard. Arlene Kelly ready to come in. She bustles in, very tight to the umpire. And just pushed back to mid-off. There is no run. Current run rate 5 and a bit, as you can see there, 5.38. But whether they can keep anything like that going for 20 overs if they keep gifting wickets is another matter. Just a quick scampered single with the ball down to backward square leg. Very tidily picked up. Amy Hunter behind the stumps. First choice wicketkeeper for Ireland. And again, just back of a length. No real room to play with. Good ball from Kelly. Those are the sort of areas you need to be bowling in T20. Make the batter play. Don't give them anything to work with. We've seen that Darcy Carter likes a short ball, likes fetching it around the corner. And that was just exactly that. That was slightly fuller, but was in exactly her slot to fetch around the corner. 4 runs through deep backward square leg. And it's a bit of a one-woman show at the moment for Scotland. Darcy Carter goes on to 29 of 25. It's a very assured knock so far. That was actually a fuller ball, wasn't it? Right up there. And picked almost off stump and helped round the corner. It's the end of the over. Ireland will be happy with it. Arlene Kelly, although she didn't actually take the wicket, there is a wicket in the over on the run out, and I think Ireland will feel they got the better of that over. Change of bowling at both ends now. Captain Laura Delaney is chatting to, I'm just trying to work out who that is. My screen has gone off in front of me. It's Cara Murray. Cara Murray has the ball in her hand, comes in off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paces. Over goes the arm, and there seemed to be a fair old bit of movement on that big appeal. And why wouldn't there be? Because it's taken the stumps. I was looking to the umpire for... I thought that hit the pads, and it's gone right the way through. Gone right the way through, everyone. Let's look at this replay. And yet another Scotland wicket goes down cheaply. Jack bowled Murray, 1 run off 3 balls. Who is going to give the support to Darcy Carter? Things could not really be going any better for the Ireland side, could they? They were favourites coming into this. Surprising that they lost the first of the one-dayers in last week's 3 one-day matches. But word on the street is that Ireland are always slow starters in any series. If this were a series in its own right, the T20s, it's certainly not a slow start. But each of the matches counts the same in the overall series. So Ireland already 2-1 up, and looking as if they might well, I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? But looking as if they might well go 3-1 up, because Scotland are going down like a pack of cards at the moment. Cara Murray again, lovely ball. Three runs, very well run. I just thought was a little dab on the offside. Goes for 3. They aren't particularly big boundaries where the ropes are today. There is the option for far bigger boundaries here. It's a lovely, lovely oval. But for the T20s, with the pitch rather on the far side away from the pavilion, the ropes are in on the pavilion side. Cara Murray tosses the ball from hand to hand, comes in again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over it goes. And just pushed out into the leg side. Scotland think about a second. The last thing they want is another silly run out. Carter adds another 1 to her score. Elsa Lister has a little look around for the gaps, as well she might. Let's see where she can place this one. And yep, after a bit of a think, the umpire says that's a wide. Well, Lister set herself to hit that one, really gave herself a wide, strong base, but in the end could only pick out the fielder at deep square leg, and it's just the single that they come through for. She'll feel she missed out on that one, I believe. That was a bit of a loose ball that could have gone anywhere on the leg side. Went straight to the fielder. Murray getting away with one there. A lovely ball that just hurries the batter for pace. Even Darcy Carter, who's seeing it well, couldn't get anything on that. And a forward defensive. Everyone likes a forward defensive now and again, don't they? Even a T20, a well-played forward defensive out the textbook. End of the over. And another over in which a wicket fell. It really is looking a little bit dire for Scotland at the moment. 4 wickets down after 8 overs. Oh, so Lister takes a guard, as we could all see there. It was middle stump she's taken. Thinks about going forward and then just dabs it out to point. There is no run. Three fielders back on the boundary. Good man. Deep square leg. A mid-wicket, a squarish mid-wicket. And the fielder who was coming in to collect that one was the other fielder on the boundary, on the extra cover boundary. Trotted through for a single. Laura Delaney keeping busy, tweaking the field. Making sure that that offside sweeper is exactly where she wants her. Kelly comes in again. Perhaps a little short. Gives Darcy Carter enough room to dab it down to third. And they run through for 2. Elsa Lister ran the first 2 very quickly and could perhaps have got back to this end for a third. But the last thing they need again is a mix-up in running. Carter jabs down on a Yorker, keeps it out very, very nicely. Nothing else she could have done about that. It's a dot ball. That's the experience of Arlene Kelly showing. It's mind games as much as anything in T20, isn't it? There's a lot of premeditation from batsmen or batters at times. That one, though, didn't need to be premeditated. A little short. Darcy Carter plays it on length, pushes it out to extra cover, scampers through for another single. Elsa Lister has 5 runs of the 4 balls she's faced. Her job, more than anything, you would think, is just to keep giving the strike to Darcy Carter, who was the only batter really who has showed any fight so far in this Scottish innings. Having said that, Lister plays a very nice shot down towards backward square leg boundary, but there is a fielder there in the deep, returned by Sophie McMahon. And it's the end of the over. McMahon stays down on the boundary where she is the offside sweeper from the other end. Had no distance at all to run. The Arden women full of bounce, all jogging, I was going to say playfully, back to their positions. Why shouldn't they? There's an awful lot for them to be happy about at the moment. Things going very much their way. The field's around very, very quickly. Cara Murray has the ball in her hands. There's a tweak on the offside field. I think, did we have too many? Yeah, we had too many outside the ring. Oop. And that is another very, very nice catch. Very simple catch at cover point. And another wicket falls. And the parade of Scottish batters to and from the middle shows no sign of slowing down. Nobody wants to hold up the other end for Darcy Carter at the moment. Carter is cutting a very forlorn figure out in the middle on her own, thinking, am I really going to have to do this whole thing on my own? You may not, Darcy, have to do it for the full 20 overs if things carry on the way they're going. Things just going Ireland's way completely. Ireland have a little huddle, ostensibly for drinks, but probably for a little chat as well, and a few pats on backs. It's a case of carry on doing what you're doing, I think. The new batter in for Scotland is Ellen Watson. What can Ellen Watson do? Ellen Watson scored 25 runs in the one days last week off of 3 matches, so average of 8.33. It doesn't bode well that she's going to be setting a winning target out there. Highest score 16 in the 3 ODIs last week. But as I think I mentioned earlier, is the job of the batter at the other end from Darcy Carter to score runs, or is the job to just keep giving the strike to Carter? It's a bit of both, really, isn't it? And that's not easy. 51 for 5 is the score, and we're in the 10th over. Cara Murray is ready. Play and miss. A few oohs and ahs, hands on heads and hands in the air, as it is just a dot ball. Nicely played. It was another ball that kept low, and Ellen Watson reacted very quickly to the low bounce and managed to spoon it, well, not spoon it, scoop it perhaps, round the corner just for a single. I think it'd be easier for me if I actually mention the ones that don't keep low from this end, because quite a few now have skidded through. That's a fuller ball, just defensively pushed back, no drama, and there is no run. Again, lots of shouts of encouragement from the Ireland women. A lot of buzz in the field. There's a slightly wider ball that perhaps Darcy Carter would have hoped to have done something with, but in the end all she can do is knock it to the close infielder on the offside. Similar ball, similar result. Top ball, end of the over. Super over for Cara Murray. I'll give you an analysis just as soon as I have it. Team for 7 so far, I believe. Well, there's the card, as you can see in front of you, and it doesn't make happy reading from a Scotland point of view, but the Ireland bowlers will be cock-a-hoop for that. Ava Canning went for 8 and over and looked a little expensive at the top, but the other 3 bowlers have been enjoying themselves. Little tweak of the field. We have a fielder right back, very, very fine at long leg. There's a big shout, big shout there from Georgina Dempsey. Umpire not interested. Not a lot of support from her teammates, it has to be said. But if you're going to appeal, appeal enthusiastically, and she certainly did. So, Ellen Watson, still on 1. Gives it the charge. There's a shout for a caught behind. There's a chance for a stumping, all sorts of drama. And what will actually be written in the scorer's book is a dot. But Georgina Dempsey, big appeals on the first 2 balls of her spell. Again, mainly from herself and not from her teammates, but persistence should pay off. Let's have another one on this ball. A little bit fuller. A big heave of the bat, but just goes out for 1 run to mid-wicket. Good throw back in. And just the 1 run of 3 balls so far from Georgina Dempsey's over. Darcy Carter, what have you got? Let's have a look. There's a tweak in the field as well. For Carter, the fielder has been put right back on the deep mid-wicket boundary, which means the fielder long leg has been brought up into the ring. We've got 3 fielders on the boundary on the leg side for Darcy Carter. And she pushes that into the leg side. Looks for 2 because there's nobody on the 1 on that leg side, but there didn't need to be because there's excellent fielding. I think that's Alana Dalzell who came in and fielded that. A little chat in the middle between Ellen Watson and Darcy Carter. One wonders what words of wisdom they could be sharing in order to dig themselves out of this hole. Also a chat very quickly between Laura Delaney and her bowler. A bit leggy. Ellen Watson looks to work it round the corner, doesn't make contact, wraps the pad. No appeal this time from Georgina Dempsey. Even she could see that was going to miss leg. And that's a bit leggy, and I think the umpire will be interested in that. And yet the umpire is signalling to the players first and then to the scorer that that is a wide. So Carter continues about a run of ball. Watson only 2 of the 6 that she's faced so far. Again, another tweak in the field. They decided that they are going to have, when I say they, Ireland decided that they're going to have fielders on the boundary, 3 on the leg side and 1 at long off. A little chat and fist bump from the 2 batters. One wonders what that was about. And spooned up into the leg side, but because all the leg side fielders were on the boundary, there was no catch. But Scotland just commit running suicide. There were never, ever 2 runs there. Ever. Ever. Did I say ever? Never, ever 2 runs there. What were you thinking of? Whether that was what the chat was about before that ball, when the Scottish batters came together and had a quick word and said, oh, there's 2 there because they're all on the boundary. Might have been an idea to have a look after the first run. And if the ball is already in the fielder's hands, it might not be such a good idea to run. And another trudging Scotland batter makes her way back to the pavilion. Ellen Watson has gone without really making an impression. And one feels for the Scottish women that what do you do in a situation like this? Megan McCall is the new batter. It's a time for cool heads, sensible heads. There are an awful lot of overs left to bat and not a lot of batters left to do it. The ball is in Cara Murray's hands. Darcy Carter to face. Carter winds up for a big plonk into the offside and in the end just dabs it down, and it runs round to the short third area and is returned via the ring. Nothing much happens. Just the one from it. So Megan McCall is basically given an easy one off the mark, the sort of thing you'd do on a Sunday afternoon village match if the vicar were coming in to bat. You'd just give them a soft one round there, round the corner. See, that sort of ball and that sort of shot. A much better ball, and played with great respect by Darcy Carter. She knows she is the person who's going to have to score all the runs, but she also knows if she goes, then the whole thing collapses around her. That's a nice shot down to deep backward square leg. Just the one run though. And again, lots of encouragement from the Ireland fielders, and it is a case of just keep on doing what you're doing. Very much a carbon copy of the ball that Megan McCall was given earlier. She takes another single off an untaxing ball, and Darcy Carter is back on strike, and that is very well bowled, and all that Darcy Carter can do is push that out to mid-off. Another tight over from Cara Murray. Ireland jog round again. Two Scotland batters come together. What can they possibly be saying? Darcy Carter, 36. She's been going at nearly run a ball. Murray's got 2 for 11 off her 3 overs so far. And do we have... Now there's a change of field. I thought perhaps we were going to get a change of bowling, but no, Georgina Dempsey hangs on to the ball for a second over. Megan McCall takes a guard. The score is 60 for 6 of 12. Oh, that's airborne, and it was tantalising there for Amy Hunter. Initially it looks as if it was going to be way beyond her, but she set off, and she set off well, but it was always coming at her from over her shoulder, so to speak. And although she's put that down, it wasn't a bad effort. It wasn't the best of shots, really, was it? But it's a run, and Scotland will take them however they come at the moment. And that's a good ball from Georgina Dempsey. Just trumps again for room. Darcy Carter, and she can do nothing but just prod it back to the bowler. The wind, if anything, is getting even more brisk. You can possibly hear papers rustling around on the desk in front of me. That kept low. That's the other end to where the previous ones have kept low, but that's kept low. It's kept out well. And Carter goes through for another single. There's a bit of shuffling in the field. Megan McCall is not seen as the same threat on the leg side that Carter is. There's just one fielder in the deep on the leg side. And that looks like it's going to be a leg bye, a comfortable leg bye, despite the scampering of Orla Prendergast, who gets him very, very quickly to tidy that up. She is now required, from scampering almost to the wicket itself, she is required to go right the way back to the square leg boundary. She'll get fed up with that, won't she? And it is to her, indeed. Well, I thought it was going to be to her that the ball goes. But beaten in the chase by Alana Dalzell to keep it to 1. Again, the change of field. for the tail ender, Megan McCall. This is going to be something of a big ask if Megan McCall is going to make a significant contribution. She played 2 of the 3 one-dayers last week, and in those 2 innings scored 1 run total, no not outs, average 0.50. So she'll need a change of fortune this week. But seize the day. Now is the time to do it. Cometh the hour. And that's very sensibly just nudged into the leg side. I think they've run somebody out for the 3rd time, have they? And the umpire is saying, no, all is good. Whether that was because the batter had reached her ground or the umpire just felt sympathy, who knows? I'm not suggesting for a moment the umpires would do that, but it just seemed like another suicidal run. But there we go. Darcy Carter decided she needed to be facing the bowling at the start of the next over. And perhaps she's right. She's an international cricketer. I'm not. Who am I to second guess? But please, no more silly run-outs. Stays on. Another over to her spell. And Darcy Carter changed her mind mid-shot there. She'd wound up for a bigger shot and in the end just pushed it down the ground for 1. It's the sort of change of mind that occasionally you end up spooning it back to the bowler, but she managed to keep it down. And Mara's in again off her short run. Drags that one down a little bit, which allows do forgive me, which allows Megan McCall to just fetch it round the corner for 1 run. Oh, and again, a change of mind halfway through a shot, and a very sensible change of mind. Darcy Carter decides the ball wasn't there to be hit, and she just pokes it out to Alana Dalzell, who is in tight at cover. That's very, very well fielded again by Dalzell. But they've managed to scamper a 1. They are running quickly. They're not necessarily running well or sensibly all the time, but they are running quickly, which is half the battle. Again, just allowed to be pushed round the corner. Slightly looser ball, Cara Murray. But just trading in singles at the moment, there are no great worries from an Ireland point of view. Darcy Carter is moving towards what would be a valiant 50, but let's not put the kibosh on that. Again, she tries to push that ball out through the covers, but fielded very, very well there by Gabby Lewis. With the exception of, I believe, a drop right back in the first over, when everything was a little rushed here as the broadcast started, as the match was starting. I don't think we have seen any loose fielding at all by Ireland. There was the one, we'll call it a drop, where Amy Hunter had to run back to try and take the skied top edge. But apart from that, the ground fielding has been very, very tight. Now, we have a fielder coming in very short at mid-wicket. Well, I feel as if I need to apologise to Megan McCall there, because I was denigrating her batting and saying the figures don't back it up, and she just played a lovely little funky premeditated scoop shot for 2 runs. There is a fielder down there now for it. Again, pushed out for 1 to mid-wicket. She's looking every inch the batter, is she not? I feel very, very bad about what I just said. She's going to go on to make a 50 and set Ireland a taxing target, possibly. Meanwhile, Darcy Carter, who is the one scoring all the real runs rather than the fantasy runs, is facing. There's that shot she's been trying to play, pushing out a sort of a half-cut shot, if that makes sense. I'm not meaning it's had a few drinks at lunchtime. I really mean it's more of a cut dab, if that makes sense. Goes out through point, and this time she does get the single, evades the fielder. Megan McCall. Talented and batter as she is. There we go. She's played another premeditated scoop, and this one is going to beat the fielders to the boundary. Yes, it has. It's gone for 4 runs. It's given the Scotland bench something to cheer about. I say bench, but in the pavilion here, there's a lovely selection of sofas and comfy chairs and cushions and things. It's not the sort of thing you'd imagine, because the pavilion is a tent or a marquee. It's the sort of thing you'd imagine a Maharaja might have, with all the cushions. It's a glorious affair over there. And the Scotland team are in there, and I say a very, very rare cheer came out for that wonderful shot from Megan McCall. And for the first time, we've seen Ireland have to sort of be defensive and think, what can we do to defend? They put a fielder down deep third. Now that was a very firmly hit shot out to mid-wicket, straight to the mid-wicket fielder, but she ran quickly, she took a single. And this is turning into perhaps the partnership that Scotland need. Again, that little shot from Carter, the dab cut to point. It's not been terribly productive for her. She's putting bat on ball, but from both ends, and from various bowlers she's been playing that shot, and it hasn't actually yielded many runs. There we go. This partnership, 24, is the highest partnership in the innings so far. That's very, very well cut off in the field. Excuse me if I went quiet for a second then. Occasionally, with just the one person here in the commentary position, I do need to have a little cough off microphone from time to time. Well, runs are starting coming and the strike is being rotated, and it is a nice little partnership now. I think I omitted to mention when I was boring you with my coughing details that the skipper has brought herself on. Laura Delaney this is. And again, she fetched round the corner just for another single, but the scoreboard keeps ticking over. So Delaney comes in again. Another premeditated shot. And this time, after I'd said how tight the fielding had been for Ireland, there is an absolute sitter. An absolute sitter dropped. It is hands on heads time. It's the only bit of misfortune so far. The umpires are conferring, and I know not why. The ball is handed back to Laura Delaney. Whatever the outcome of that conversation between the umpires was, it hasn't affected us. Just short of a length, punched out onto the offside. That's the shot that Carter has been playing quite a bit. This time the ball was short enough that she could free her arms on that and punch it out, but still only the single, but it means she does keep the strike. Takes her up to 44 off 51. McCall giving great support at the other end, 19 off 14. 4 overs remain of the innings. And there's some very healthy bowling figures to look at there as well. Delaney unfortunate not to have a wicket in that column there. So 4 to come, 86 for 6 after 16. Georgina Dempsey to continue. And she's generating good pace. Pushed out into the offside by Carter for another single. And Megan McCall, who I imagine, even though that the chips are down slightly for Scotland, would be enjoying herself out there. She's played some nice shots. The field is being tweaked for her. She turns herself round, back to front. There is no run. And she might feel she missed out a little bit there. And there we go. The fun and games that Megan McCall was having are all over. She knew she had to get on with it. But sadly, the attempted drive down the ground was spooned up into the air and gave an awful long time for the Ireland women to decide who was going to get underneath it, who was going to take the catch. And you're expecting me to tell you who that was, wasn't it? And I was looking away at something else while it was taken. My apologies, I believe it was Ola Prendergast that took that, but I could be wrong. But what you know, I was right. So 31 was the partnership there. Just what was needed at the right time. But all things come to an end. And Darcy Carter has another partner. And it's Maksud. And it's a bit leggy, and the umpire says, yep, there's an extra. All helps, all helps. That's a healthy, looking shot. Well fielded at long on. The shy at the stumps wasn't far off either. I'm just wondering whether I can work the same magic for Maksud that I did for McCall, in that Maksud had a pretty wretched three matches last week in the ODI part of the series, where she scored only 4 runs across 3 innings. When I said a similar thing about McCall, she suddenly turned into Viv Richards. A big heave from Darcy Carter. Bat didn't make contact with ball, though. It's the end of the over. 3 to go. 89 for 7 is the score. The obvious milestone to get to is 100 for Scotland, just to set that little psychological target in Ireland's mind. Anything under a ton, you feel you get at a canter. Once you get up to that extra digit, at least it gets you thinking a little bit about it, doesn't it? Lord Delaney always has a business-like air about her, and she marches purposefully back to the top of her run. In she comes again. Big leap, and there's a big shout. Was there? There was an edge. The umpire saying there was, and sadly, I couldn't generate any Mahmood magic. The Maksud is out for 1 run, I believe. Caught behind. Bold Delaney, 1 run off 3 balls. Scotland in slight danger of not batting out all their overs. Darcy Carter has done an absolute fine job. She was there at the start of the innings. She's faced 54 balls. She scored 45 runs. But what she hasn't found is solid support at the other end, except perhaps from McCall in a rather nice cameo innings. Olivia Bell is the new bat. Just pushes the ball into the leg side. There's a small risk that the bottom hand got a bit involved there. Could have gone up, but the ball didn't reach any fielder. And it's just a single. Again, in comes Delaney. Fuller ball, Yorker length. And there we are. It has been a wonderful, wonderful knock. But sadly, that is the end of Darcy Carter. She's done as much as could have been asked for her. That means we have the last wicket pair. We have 10 and 11 batting together. Hannah Rainey, the last bat in. And 10 and 11 have a dozen or so. 14 balls maybe to face. As that was happening, Darcy Carter finished the long walk back to the pavilion and got a very well-deserved round of applause. That's a nice looking shot from a number 11, wasn't it? So one to come. Would have been a very nice over from Lloyd Delaney. There's a big shout from one that again kept low. And I risk repeating myself, but it's worth saying, because if you want to bat with any confidence, it's hard to do so if the ball keeps a little bit low. But 2 wickets in the over for Laura Delaney. Olivia Bell takes a guard. 2 overs to go. Up to these 2 batters to see what they can glean from it. So far they've only gleaned 1 run between the pair of them, but they have only jointly faced 3 balls together. An attempted dab into the offside from Olivia Bell. But a play and a miss, and it's a dot ball. That potential target of 100 dangles tantalisingly. Will they reach it, will they not? Oh, a bit of hesitation in the running, and perhaps the throw went to the wrong end. But they've scampered through for a single. They get a little bit closer to that 100. .91 for 9 is the score. Panarani takes a guard, has a little look around. That's a nice ball. Just a little bit of zing on it. Too quick for a tail ender. There's a big old heave, and it is all over. Arlene Kelly takes the last wicket. It's been a frustrating innings from a Scotland point of view. Darcy Carter was looking very, very good throughout. She opened the innings and scored a very, very nice 45 of 55. But as we look down the card, there's just lots of single-digit scores, aren't there? 3-1, 3-1, 6-3. McCall came out, and she hasn't been in form, but she scored 19 runs off 16 balls, very entertainingly as well. But that couldn't last. She caught Prendergast bowled Dempsey with a skyer as she attempted to clear the inner ring long on, and she went for 19. And then again, precious little going on after that. Maksud out for 1, Bell out for 2, Rainey out without scoring. There were 7 extras. 91 is the total. And let's look at the bowlers there. Nothing to complain about there. Nobody terribly expensive. Canning at the top of the order went for 8 and over. After that, Ireland very much shut things down. Canning was lucky, well, not lucky of this, Canning was partnered at the other end by Dalzell, who was just on form, was having a charmed debut today. And she bowled 3 overs, 1 maiden, for 2 wickets for 8 runs. And so, even though Canning did go for 8 and over, the combined Scotland score never really got going. Kelly, 3.4 overs because she took that wicket at the end there. 1 for 22, went for 6 and over. Murray bowled 4 overs, very, very tidy overs, 2 for 15. Dempsey, 3 overs, 1 for 14. And Delaney pulled herself on and took 2 wickets for 7 runs and justified bringing herself on there. So that's a very, very healthy looking bowling performance. 91 was the score. 92 will be the target that Ireland will be looking to get. Who were the players? Who caught the eye? Well, Carter, obviously, with her 45, McCall, 19, and all the bowlers there, as you can see, Delaney, Dalzell, Murray, Dempsey, all weighed in nicely. In many ways, Scotland were the masters of their own misfortune. There were a couple of silly run-outs and a couple of shots that they might well regret. But you've got to get on with it in T20. Perhaps a little rash at times. I don't think a total or a target of 92 will stretch Ireland too far on the strength of what we saw from the batting last week in the ODIs, but who knows. I will be back in about 10 minutes time and I will take you through the Ireland reply. The umpires are back out. Scotland have set their field. The Ireland batters are set. Let's see how Ireland get on, chasing 92 to win this fourth match of the Celtic Challenge Series. Just a quick word on the weather. It had threatened to get a little bit nippy towards the end of the Scotland innings, but the sun has now pushed through the clouds again. It's still glorious as it was when we started the match. A very gentle start to the Ireland reply. 2 dot balls. Amy Hunter chips one into the leg side, jogs through for the single. Gabby Lewis, the tall, athletic figure of Gabby Lewis, takes her guard. Starts off with one of the funky cabaret shots, doesn't get all of it, but, oh, interesting, chased down by 2 Scotland fielders. That was right near the rope, but I think she pulled that back. The umpires are looking at each other, but just the 2 runs it was. Or was it 3? I was so watching the fielder that I didn't even watch the batters. There we go. It was 3 they took, wasn't it? Or was it only 1? Shall I go and have a lie down about that ball? You were watching it at home. You saw what happened. I didn't. I was watching the ball at the boundary. There we go. Meanwhile, back at live play that I am watching. Dab down into the offside by Amy Hunter. Couple of runs, very well run. It is the end of the over. Right, I just drifted off ever so slightly there while I was gathering my thoughts. And when I say gathering my thoughts, I was actually rescuing a piece of paper that had disappeared towards Malaga in the breeze. So that first over, Catherine Bryce. She didn't come off with the bat, I think it's fair to say, in the Scotland innings. And Scotland do lean on her very heavily to score the runs, so she was trying there to redeem herself with the ball. Priyanaz Chatterjee is the bowler from the other end. Some athletic fielding there as well. She's just checking her elbow. It's quite dry and dusty out there. You can probably see, you might not be able to see, but the wind does bring across an awful lot of sand sometimes. And it can be quite an odd surface to dive on. Well, that was an ambitious shot, dancing down the wicket. Right, let me give you the field. We have got, in the deep, we have got a deep backward point. We have got a deep backward square leg. Just the 2 deep fielders. Scotland hoping to keep the pressure on the Ireland batters. Amy Hunter and Gabby Lewis are the 2 batters out there for Ireland. And it's been a gentle start, but it can be. No need to go mad. Chasing 92 to win. And Priyana Chatterjee comes in again, generates a fair amount of speed in the run-up. Just strays onto the pads. I don't believe there was bat on ball. Looking to the umpire to confirm. There is no signal of led by, so that will go down as runs. Just as well I'm not umpiring, isn't it? A crowd catch. A crowd catch, a bump ball taken by the bowler. One or two oohs and ahs from around the ground. And Priyana Chatterjee comes it again. Nice tidy ball. And just pushed back to her. Amy Hunter in no rush to get on with things. Sometimes I struggle with my old eyes to tell the batters apart when commentating, so it's rather lovely that there is a significant height difference between these two, and it makes it so much easier for me. 66, Gabby Lewis. A risky little shot into the leg side. And they scamper through for a run. There are no great dramas. Amy Hunter, significantly shorter than her batting partner. She tries to again whip that round the corner on the leg side. But it being the leg side and it being a T20 international, there is no room whatsoever. No margin for error, and the umpire says that's wide. You'll have to do it again. That's a nice ball, just cramping Hunter for room ever so slightly. All she can do is push it out to the fielder there at point. There is no run. So for Catherine Bryce, the field is, she's got two deep fielders on the leg side, neither of which will be able to reach that. That's played in front of square by Amy Hunter, all along the ground, textbook shot. First four of the reply. All is rosy in the Ireland garden. You wonder if these two, as they've come out, have just said, you know, don't muck about, don't take any risks, we can knock these off together. We've seen a few defensive shots which you wouldn't necessarily see at this stage of a T20 innings. And I'm not a betting man, but I reckon these two have had a quiet little word. We shall see. We shall see. Very early days to be saying things like that. Take no risks. Amy Hunter skies one, and it falls between three, possibly four fielders converging on the leg side. And yeah, let's not take any risks apart from putting that one up about 3 times higher. It went 3 times higher than it went long, and plops into a space at mid wicket. Gabby Lewis stands tall and waits. Again, that wristy whip round the corner. Anybody out there old enough to remember Sunil Gavaskar? Very wristy Indian batsman. Just that, it's that shot. End of the over. A successful over from an Ireland point of view. Ahead of the rate. Just that one risky shot from Amy Hunter where she skied it. There's the worm. The worm is hugging the Scotland worm, but just from slightly above. I think I won't draw that analogy any further for fear of going somewhere I shouldn't. So Priyana's Chatterjee comes in. Again, a nice ball. She's dropping it in the right areas. She's got a bit of zip as well. And that's what Scotland are going to need. They're going to need the bowlers to keep it tight. They're going to have to make the batters play their shots. You feel if Ireland aren't all out at the end, they will win. I know how ridiculous that sounds. What I mean is, if Ireland don't lose wickets, they will get there well inside 20 overs. There you go. I'm glad I explained that. Now, strangely enough, after I was just talking about the wind, the flags at the far end of the ground are now completely limp. There is no wind whatsoever in the ground. How very, very odd. And as I say that, they pick up again. I think it's the wind version of a tsunami, when the sea goes quiet and goes out just before a tsunami. That was the wind version of it, when the wind died then. Meanwhile, back at cricket, Chatterjee comes in. It's chipped up into the leg side, just a few metres short of the fielder at mid-wicket. There is no run. Nice little over from Chatterjee, keeping it tight. Dot, dot, dot. Ooh, a bit of a scything drive. It was the feet were in the position, the back lift was in the position to drive, and then the back came down at a bit of an angle, and in the end just prodded the ball out into the covers. Ooh, it was a yes, no, maybe, sorry almost moment between the batters there. Gabby Lewis set off, it was her call, and I think it was Hunter who sent her back. And they don't need to be taking these risks, they really don't. If they just plod along, they will get, at some point in this lovely afternoon, to 92 runs, which is all they need. A little chat in the middle, as is obligatory at the end of an over, but they go back for a second one. They part and then they come back. I wonder what little gem it was that needed to be imparted. Oh, they're meeting for a third time now, the batters. There is a delay to play, and I think one of the Scotland fielders is injured. There seems to be, it's either drinks or, it wouldn't be drinks this early, would it? In the distance I see a man jogging out. It's some sort of medical attention is required, but because it is some sort of medical attention, the high-vis jacketed replacements come sprinting out with the drinks. It's very, very important to stay hydrated, as we all know these days in sport. But just to let you know, in this ground at Desert Springs during the summer, in Spain, we had significantly higher temperatures than normal, and the ground here occasionally on days during August reached 39 degrees Celsius, and it gets hot down here. It's an extraordinarily hot summer, a record hot summer in Spain, and particularly this part of Spain gets very hot indeed. Further up the coast where I am based, where I play my cricket, up near Alicante, it doesn't get quite so hot, but down here I think the correct term is scorchio. Well, quite a bit of medical attention, as it turns out. So now would be a good time to remind you all that we are in the 4th game of this Celtic challenge, and that Ireland are the home side here in Spain, welcoming the Scotland women, and 3 ODIs, 350 over ODIs and 2 T20s. This is the first of the T20s. Tomorrow at exactly the same time is the second T20, so if you are tuning in, join us for that one. The ODIs had a day between. Don't get confused, the T20s are on consecutive days, and the T20, the 5th match of the series, the second T20, will be happening tomorrow afternoon at the same time. Scotland obviously will be hoping to acquit themselves slightly better with the bat when they do that. Now, surprising team selection, because Leah Paul is a replacement for Ireland today. In the 3 ODIs last week, she scored a total of 171 runs at an average of 57, with a high score of 70, and she is not on the field today. She is not taking part in this match. Now, I don't know whether that's an injury or whether that is team rotation, but that's interesting selection from Ireland, and I will try and find out from the people in the know what the thinking behind that was. Well, the medic has worked the medical miracles. Everybody seems fit and well. Nobody has left the field. There's a little 4-way chat going on between the 2 batters and a couple of the Scotland fielders. It's all very pleasant and amiable out there. Bear in mind that they've spent the entire last week together on what is a glorious, glorious holiday resort. Let's not muck about here. This is not roughing it anywhere at all. It's a lovely, lovely place, Desert Springs, to come. Golf courses and spas and restaurants and the like. So these women have been enjoying themselves, not just playing international cricket, but obviously spending a week in the Spanish sunshine, and they've all got to know each other. Amy Hunter punches that ball out to mid-wicket, but straight at the fielder. There is no run. 17 without loss. Nice use of the feet, gets down to it, squirts it down. To deep extra cover, and there are 2 runs. And Amy Hunter, apart from that skied drive after I said she was taking no risks, is looking very much the part. Well, 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 if that isn't the commentator's curse word, is the ball pitched up there, she whips it off her legs, and she whips it straight into the waiting, grateful hands of the fielder at short mid-wicket there. And it was a sharp catch. It was going. She got all of it. And she can count herself unlucky, because a few feet either side of that, and that was 4 runs. But back she must go. Once again, the commentator's curse does for a well-set batter. But plenty of batting in depth in this Ireland side. I'm speaking as if it's already a done deal, aren't I? The runs need scoring. Scotland will be doing everything they can to stop them being scored. So there's going to be no complacency from an Ireland point of view. There can be quiet confidence, certainly. So Hunter, old Bryce, caught Bell for 10 runs off 14. The next batter in is Orla Prendergast. She's had some success with the bat last week in the one-dayers. Plays a confident little punch out into the leg side, but straight to the fielder, and there is no run. Last week in the 3 matches, she's got 100 runs. She averaged 34. She had a top score of 64, and looked very much the international batter. She's beaten there though, and there is a half appeal from some of the fielders, if not from the bowler and keeper, which are the ones that really matter. They're the ones that sway the umpires, aren't they? Well, that's a nice tidy over. Olivia Bell took the wicket there of Hunter and asked a couple of questions, certainly, of Prendergast. She's certainly not rolling over and accepting defeat. 19 for 1 off 5. Dare I say, that Ireland are behind the rate. A nice solid defensive push to the first ball. Priyana's Chatterjee on for a third over. There's a very delayed action appeal there. Not entirely sure what happened. It'd need the replay to see what was going on there. More in hope than expectation, I think, the appeal there. Umpire completely unmoved. I'm sure you can hear on the microphones round the ground that the wind has picked up again. I hear a can disappearing into the distance. Chatterjee comes in, dashing in. There's a bit of spring and a step now, but she unfortunately puts that right in the slot, and that goes for 4 runs. And that's rather spoilt what was a quite tidy little spell for her so far. She bowled a maiden in the last over. She only went for 3 in her first over, and now she's more than doubled those runs just off the 1 ball. Yes, an almost premeditated, what was it? It wasn't really a sweep because the bat was just put there. Rather than actually the bat doing the work, they just let the ball do the work, wasn't it? There it was. Very nice. Very nice indeed. And suddenly, Gabby Lewis has decided no mucking about. And back-to-back 4s from Priyana's Chatterjee. Perhaps just wanting to be slightly more comfortable ahead of the rate rather than behind the rate. Tell you one thing though, there will be no Duckworth Lewis in this match. It's not going to rain. Better ball from Chatterjee. All Lewis can do is push that back up the pitch to her. There is no run. Lewis has a carve at a wider one, doesn't get any contact on it. The umpire calls over, and over it is. 27 for 1 off 6. And fairly drama free, apart from the one wicket that went down so far, which was Amy Hunter hitting a ball very well but straight to the fielder. There are no great scares, but you look at the worm there. Ireland are behind where Scotland were at this stage in terms of runs, but they, I think, are not going to sacrifice quite so many wickets as Scotland. Prendergast used her feet very well nicely there, just dances down and pushes the ball out to mid-wicket. Forgive me if I sound out of breath from time to time. I am like a circus performer keeping plates on sticks. I'm stopping about 6 or 7 different things blowing away at the moment with the breeze that's got up. Gabby Lewis plays forward to that, squirts it out on the offside, and Ola Prendergast says that's fine, that's enough for us. There's another single. The field changes for Ola Prendergast. The fielder who was deep backward square leg comes up on the ones, and it's a wicket right through her, and a curious wicket really. She danced down, didn't really get near it, and even if it hadn't hit, she was likely to have been stumped anyway. A curious dismissal. And there I say, I think I mentioned earlier that perhaps I was getting a bit overconfident just saying how easy this would be for Ireland. Only 2 wickets down, but enough that questions might be being asked, that butterflies might be appearing in tummies. And we have, excuse me, the new batter is out. My screen has just gone down for a second, but I can confirm that is the captain who's come out to deal with this business herself. Laura Delaney. Bat held high in the back lift. Baseball style, plays forward defensive, and is beaten. And there is no run. Dare I say, game on. Again, getting a big stride in there, forward defensive. I say a big stride, she's not the tallest of cricketers, but it was certainly a stretch forward. inch that was available to get forward was taken. Olivia Bell waits, comes in, right arm over, just pushes it up there. And again, Laura Delaney can only push that back. And you have to say that was Olivia Bell's over. A couple of singles off the early part of it, then the wicket, and then 3 dots. .29 of 7 overs. And it's not going to be the cakewalk we might have imagined. You see the opening partnership, 19 runs. Lewis and Prendergast put on 10 runs, and this partnership has yet to yield anything. Hannah Rainey has come on to bowl. Fast medium. One of the quicker bowlers in the side. And you wonder whether that was the right call at this moment when the batters were struggling to get the ball away off some of the slower bowlers. Will the extra pace of Hannah Rainey actually aid the batters? Who knows? The fielder extra cover has been brought up, saving the one. And Laura Delaney just puts back to ball, eases it out. Square on the offside, and the offside sweeper tidies that up, and the ball comes back via the ring to Hannah Rainey. And that is very, very nicely placed. Gabby Lewis letting the ball, again, the pace of the ball, as I mentioned earlier, letting the pace of the ball really do the work there. And backward of point, 4 runs. And again, it just pushes that rate up in the right direction again. In comes Rainey. And again, just pushed out, extra cover. A jogged single. Gabby Lewis looking very composed. Gives the strike to her captain, Laura Delaney. And again, Rainey just giving perhaps a little bit too much width, allowing Delaney to just push that out into the covers, take a single. I'm being joined by a guest at the commentary position. How lovely. There's only one chair. How rude is that? Would you like my chair, dear boy?
No, certainly not. Certainly not.
Welcome. Switch that on and hopefully you'll be heard.
Just got a bit windy, hasn't it?
It's just a tad windy. I've been trying to do my bit for the Spanish Tourist Board, saying how wonderful it is. Yet this sort of typhoon weather is a little bit much.
Yeah.
Now,
indeed.
your job title has gone completely from my brain.
High performance director.
High performance director
for Cricket Ireland. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Here we go. We've got a chair as well.
Now, is there a performance director and a high performance director?
No, there isn't.
There isn't.
I went from performance to high.
Yeah?
Not quite sure why.
You didn't muck about. Straight to the top. Well, how are you thinking it's panning out today then?
Well, it's just got interesting, hasn't it? I think Scottish bowlers have really tied our girls down in the last 4 or 5 overs and just put the squeeze on a bit. And obviously, a couple of wickets there has made it a bit more interesting. So I think we'd have probably been pretty happy with chasing 92 at the halfway stage.
Yep, I think so.
But I think fair play to the Scottish girls. They've bowled well. They've fielded well. And I think we got a decent game on now.
We have indeed. Did you notice, Richard, how I slyly didn't introduce you at the start of this because there are so many Richards around? I couldn't remember your surname. It's Holdsworth, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Richard Holdsworth,
indeed.
High Performance Director for Cricket Ireland. Now you'll notice we have plenty of screens in front of us, none of which are actually functioning at the moment. So if you peer over the top of those, you can see a game of cricket, which is a rather exciting game of cricket over the top there, Richard.
Yeah.
Now Laura Delaney, she knows her way around a cricket field, doesn't she? She's been there and back, so to speak.
Incredibly experienced, and this is that's a great shot.
It is. One bounce, 4. Terrific shot. Yep.
Yeah, just using her feet there, and I think trying to play positive cricket, coming down, met it really well, and with long on, with mid on up in the ring, I think they're going to try and pressurise the Scottish bowlers and just put a little bit. Sorry, just move, changing the chair there. Just trying to perhaps. Push long on back there, and now she's opened it up, and hopefully will nick a single, which she does on the next ball. So some really smart cricket there from the captain.
Yep.
She's been in these situations so much, and I think whilst they're trying to play positive cricket, it's keeping rotation, it's keeping the scoreboard ticking, and making sure that they're rotating the strike. You've got Gabby at the other end, highly experienced, and again there. Another single down to long on, so that's really good cricket, and just takes a little bit of pressure off there.
It does. Do you know, I wish you were at every match I commentated on, because I asked you one question, you've just done 3 minutes there. I could have gone for a coffee. That was fantastic, Richard. I'm getting money for old rope here. It's fantastic. But absolutely, you're spotting that Laura Delaney there is using her feet very, very well, getting down to the pitch of it. We didn't necessarily see that done quite so well by the Scots, without denigrating the Scots as a whole. A lot of their shots were wild heaves that they got out to.
Yeah, and look, I guess this is the format where you're trying to penetrate the boundary and hit a few bigger shots there. A lot of the girls are very capable of clearing the boundary these days, but I think there are a lot of dismissals caught. Yeah. Probably unnecessarily at times, whilst a couple of their batters played extremely well, and I thought actually they brought it back in when they got to about 80. Yeah. They'd actually had a good recovery there, and then we snuck the last 2 or 3 wickets quite quickly.
Indeed. Just a comparison between Scotland and Ireland. We're at different levels of development in terms of where the countries are at the moment. I mean, Scotland that was their first recognised one-day international series last week. Yeah. So whereas Ireland have been there for a while. So, I mean, is that showing in the performances, do you think? Or?
Well, look, definitely. I think, look, it's great for the world game. The women's game is trying to expand. There's a lot of support from ICC level. Cricket Scotland have been extremely good in trying to promote the development of the women and girls game, and I think, to be honest, in terms of the calibre of players, they've got some very talented players. They've done some good work in the pathway, and they're not too far away from Ireland in terms of their competitiveness. It comes then down to experience, and what we've gained hugely in experience in the last couple of years is being part of the Women's Championship. Yep. So we've been playing teams in the top 10 because we managed to sneak into that top 10 ranking, and they expanded the Women's Championship from 8 teams to 10, yep. Mm-hmm. Thankfully. And now
tell me what we've just seen there.
Well,
I love a little cabaret shot
a lovely
like
reverse lap. I mean, Gabby Lewis is renowned for her sweeping. both orthodox square sweeping and reverse there. And I think she's looked at the field there and thought, if I can sneak it through that gap, it's open space there, and that ball's running pretty quickly in the outfield there.
Now tell me, let the cat out the bag, because you are high performance and we're watching an international player play that shot. How much of a reverse lap or reverse scoop and these things are premeditated? As club cricketers will be out there thinking, when they play them, they're thinking, I'm going to play that off this ball before it even comes. Is it premeditated?
Look, very much so. I mean, look, there are some highly talented players who are very, very quick in their decision making. Might say that it's not always premeditated, but I think, look, Gabby would have had a plan there, looking at the field, looking at where that short third is. She's quite wide there, so if you can get a very fine bit on there, so I think that would have been premeditated. She knew her plans, and what she's done there is, if she can open up that gap, the bowler then has to think very carefully about what side of the wicket am I going to play.
Yep.
And if they move the field around, suddenly then a gap appears elsewhere. So it's just challenging that bowler the whole time, trying to pick out the gaps. And look, she's executed it well there. She, like a lot of the players, will practice those sorts of shots, and then hopefully can execute when it comes to a situation like this.
Okay. Now I've got a couple of other questions for you. Selection. What was Leah Paul was full of runs last week, and has got her feet up at the moment. What's going on?
Well, I'm glad to say I'm not a selector, so I will sit in on selection. But we have a national selector and our head coach Ed Joyce, who Kira O'Brien, I should have said, our national selector, and Ed Joyce will make the selection of the squad, and then the match day squad of 11 will be down to captain and coach. Right. Look, Leah has definitely been more of a 50 over player, a long player.
Oh my!
We've just lost our roof there, Tim.
Well,
fortunately, no casualties.
No casualties. So if I nearly said a word that shouldn't have been going out broadcast, but a whole metal gazebo has just gone from behind us to right over our heads, and like a trampoline in a tree. We've got a gazebo on its roof sat in front of us, but I say nobody's hurt. Nobody has come dashing across to say let's fix that gazebo.
Yeah.
So
or to check whether either of us are okay.
Now let's get back again. I've got another important question for you. So basically the answer to Leah is somebody else's decision, but she's
more of a 50 over player, albeit is really trying to work on her skills, and as you saw the other day, she got 70 odd and played a long innings, very much an anchor role in that format, which is really, really important. And she's a steady cricketer. Will try and rotate the strike, but she wouldn't be as an attacking cricketer, as a power cricketer than we've got in our top 4 or 5 here. No. We've seen that with Amy earlier, and Orla Prendergast, who got out early again, is a big hitter, and so it's she's not quite there, but working hard at it. She also picked up a little bit of a niggle in that last ODI as well, so she's not. I don't think she's actually fit for selection at the moment.
I have another selection question, and you saying you're not responsible for selection, you might want to take some credit for this. There's a young lady who forced her way into the side at the end of last week and had the most astonishing debut with the ball this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, she's been on the verge. She's.
We're talking about Alana.
We
obviously.
are. Yeah. She made her debut as an international cricketer against South Africa last year, and has probably been unlucky not to have got back in the side in either format since then. She's from the northwest, up Derry Way, very talented, and has been working hard at her game. And as I said, unlucky not to have another great shot through the covers there for 4. But she's been unlucky not to make her way. But great to see her make a debut. Her bowling figures today, miserly. I think she didn't go for many at all.
She didn't. She'll just get it here. She had 3 overs, 2 for 8. Yeah. You can't quibble with that on debut, can you?
You absolutely can't. And she's obviously not got the experience as a number of the other bowlers there, but it certainly didn't show. There didn't seem to be nerves. She kept to a game. She's very consistent with her lines and lengths. So great to see. And this series is a great opportunity for both sides to blood one or two relatively new players, and great that she's got the opportunity this week.
Fabulous. Right, well, let's go back to the live action, because we've just seen a rather lovely shot there from Gabby Lewis. Used the feet, danced down and lifted that over long on. Just the four, but very tidy indeed.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Yeah, we were definitely being squeezed by the spinners, and I think these two have obviously had a good chat with each other, and they've got a clear plan. And we've seen sort of three boundaries in the last 7 or 8 balls, and suddenly it's just swung Ireland's way with a 10 overs still left.
Indeed. Richard, it's been a joy chatting to you. Have you got other things you need to be getting on with?
Plenty going on, Tim, as always. Board paper to finish tonight.
Yeah.
But look, it's great to be able to come out here. I think both Scotland and Ireland are keen to play more cricket in the winter. Desert Springs is a great opportunity to do that. Apart from this wind, which is probably quite nice for the girls given the heat. The wickets played fantastically well. They've been well looked after, and for us to be playing international cricket at the end of October,
wonderful, isn't it? What a wonderful opportunity.
Two countries that certainly aren't capable of hosting cricket at this time
Indeed.
of the year.
Yep.
It's been great to be out here and allow them to play some really high quality cricket. And keep their winter from being stuck in indoor schools, freezing to death, and actually play some decent cricket outdoors.
Well, before I let you go, Richard, you've just obviously influenced some decisions out there as well, because Scotland heard what you said on the breeze. As the breeze carried your words out there, and they brought the spinners back on to try and tidy things up again.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things go here. And great that you're on board, and thanks for your support this week. It's
an absolute pleasure. I am based in Spain. I live in Spain, and to get the nod to come down here and comment on international cricket and watch two great developing sides, and looking forward to tomorrow's match as well.
Excellent, good.
Richard, I shall let you get on.
All right, thanks.
And
Tim.
I shall take this match through to what could be an exciting conclusion, or if these two carry on as they. Lovely chatting to you. So there we go, Richard Holdsworth, the high performance director, not just the director of performance, the high performance director of Cricket Ireland. So let's just have a little summary of what's been happening while we have been chatting. This partnership now 33. A little paddle round the corner, a bit uppish, but the fielder was right back on the boundary. So yeah, a little summary of where we are now. Lovely chatting to Richard. I think I mentioned during that, wouldn't he be lovely to work with all the time? I don't have to do any work at all. You just switch him on and he chats. Wonderful man. So we have Gabby Lewis on 42 of 37 balls. Captain Delaney at the other end, 9 of 11. So Gabby Lewis certainly would have been the senior partner in this particular partnership. Ooh, that was there for cutting, but Gabby Lewis couldn't put bat on ball. But Ireland now comfortably ahead of the rate. The gamble with bringing the quicker bowlers on didn't really work, as Richard observed. And Ireland well ahead of where they need to be now. "28 runs required off 50 balls, still 8 wickets in hand. But all to play for. Scotland do need to win this match to keep the series live, whether it be one day international or T20. They all count the same in the overall Celtic Challenge series. So Ireland came into this match 2-1 up, as we've discussed before. So if they do get home, as they look as if they might do at the moment, they will win the series 3-1. Obviously, although there will be nothing in terms of the series to play for, an international cricket match is an international cricket match, and everybody will come out wanting to win tomorrow as well. Just a punch down to mid-wicket, just a single. The umpires catch each other's eyes and say, yep, that is over. 12 overs gone. 65 for 2 is the score. And Scotland are going to need to do something. And it's going to have to be take wickets. That is the only option really open to them. They won't be able to contain Ireland, who need only 27 off 8 overs. But can they pick up 8 wickets? It seems a very, very tough ask, doesn't it, for Scotland? But it's all experience, as Richard was saying. They don't have the experience that the Ireland women have had in international competition. And this will all be of a benefit in the long term, even if they come second in this particular challenge this afternoon. Just a little, almost like a punch into the covers from Laura Delaney, just for the single. She's quite happy to just take the singles and let Gabby Lewis have the lion's share of the strike. Gabby Lewis seeing the ball very, very well now. She's not far off her 50. And that, very good shot. Deserved 4, but is picked off by some good fielding right on the boundary by Elsa Lister. Laura Delaney waits again, bat held high, baseball style, and then crouches low and really sniffs the ball for a forward defensive. All textbook stuff. And again, just pushes that one back to the bowler, taking no risks. The umpires, the umpire at the bowler's end, I think, was going to call over then, and then his colleague said, "Oh no, not yet." And we have one more, and that will be a dot ball, a bit leggy, but hit the pad of Laura Delaney on the way through, so it's not a wide. The drinks carriers again come sprinting on. Wonderful things are high visibility jackets, aren't they? You can get anywhere with a high visibility jacket. I defy anyone to not just walk in where they like with a high visibility jacket. I always keep one in the car. In fact, it's the law. Here's an interesting thing. It's the law in Spain. In the boot of your car, you must carry a high visibility jacket. And if you break down, you have to put your triangle down and wear a high visibility jacket. There you go. Bear that in mind. "13 overs gone. 25 runs needed of the remaining 7. Good areas there. Gabby Lewis shaped as if she was going to come forward to drive and then rocked back and just pushed the ball out on the offside. In comes Rainey again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a dozen, maybe a dozen strides. In she comes, but puts that just on the spot for Laura Delaney, who whips it round the corner there. 4 runs, and it brings the requirement down to 21 runs needed of 6 and a bit overs. It's more of a swat than a shot as that ball passed Gabby Lewis. The keeper takes it cleanly. That's nicely worked out, just on the offside. Just an angled bat. Down towards third, chopped through to a single. We've already got 4 off this over, so 5 there. The required rate is 3 and over. Scotland are going to need to come up with some sort of plan. But it will take wiser minds than me to think what that plan would be. Because with 8 wickets in hand and only 20 odd runs required, Ireland are not going to self-destruct from this point. Again, perhaps that's been the difference between the two sides, is that Ireland have not given wickets away. There was only really one partnership of note in the Scotland innings. End of the over. 6 off it, which is twice the required rate. So now just a good time to remind you that Scotland will have a chance to avenge this defeat. There you go, I'm calling it too early, aren't I? But to avenge this defeat tomorrow, exactly the same time, which is 2 o'clock in Central Europe summertime, or 1 o'clock in Ireland. I don't know what it is in the rest of the world, but you'll know where you are relative to Europe. I'm sure you will. Or you've got the internet. But again, you see every ball live on the Cricket Ireland feed. Do visit the Cricket Ireland website, cricketireland.ie. All sorts of things on there. Wonderful stats of not just this series, but all the cricket played in Ireland under the Cricket Ireland banner over the last season. You can check up, that's the men's, the women's, everything's there. Some age group matches on there as well covered. And keep yourself informed of what's going on. And while you're there, if you go into the stats, a nice little shot out into the leg side. I think they're going to run 2. Yeah, if you go into the stats area, it is a very, very comprehensive stats where you can search it by individual players, you can search it by series, you can search it by teams, you can search it by, I don't know, eye colour and height. No, you can't, but you almost can. And it will give you all the information you need on all the players who are playing here. So that's cricketireland.ie, worth a visit. And if you want the ball-by-ball coverage on there alongside of what you're watching on YouTube live feed, that's just at the Match Centre there. Click on Match Centre and it's all in there. Whilst I'm talking technical things, as if I know what I'm talking about, whatever Twitter's called these days, whatever that confused man has decided to call it this week, nip on there as well, Cricket Ireland Twitter feed, and you can comment on the matches that you're seeing in front of you. Always lovely to know what your feelings are of what's going on. the beauty of interactive cricket feeds now that we can find out. Oh, there's a ripple. I've been wittering there, whilst I should have been congratulating Gabby Lewis on reaching her 50. A delayed ripple comes from my commentary as well. So we had two ripples there when people who were paying attention clapped, people who were following my commentary clapped later. And it's basically told me, stop wittering about Twitter. Get yourselves on there when you can. Laura Delaney uses her feet well. That's too quick for the fielder at deep mid-wicket. 4 runs, and this is rapidly working its way towards a conclusion. Just 11 runs needed now of over 5 overs. Delaney looks to nudge it round the corner, gets nothing on it, spoons up off the pad. There's a little shout of catch it. I don't think they would have been terribly interested. So Olivia Bell comes in again, whirls the arm over, and it's hit firmly out to mid-wicket, but just the single. The umpires confer. This time they do both agree. It's the end of the over. 82 for 2, chasing 92 to win. 10 more needed. 5 overs in which to get them. The maths is not too tricky there, is it? The chair that was provided for Richard is obviously a very valuable chair, because now that Richard's gone, somebody's come and retrieved the chair. There is obviously a chair shortage in southeast Spain. I'll bring my own tomorrow, just to be careful, just to be sure. Right, there's a conflab. 3 Scotland players at the top of the bowler's run up. Catherine Bryce, the skipper. And she's saying, what are we going to do? Priyonaz Chatterjee's there as well, and the third player in the trio there is Abda Maqsood. Again, some more tweaks in the field. It is a little bit of rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. I think the field placings now. Priyonaz Chatterjee comes in. There's another premeditated shot which doesn't entirely come off, but they scamper through for a single. And the umpire says it's a wide as well. So that was a so that didn't need finishing, wasn't it? I shrugged my shoulders, I went so, like that, as if to say there's no way back in it. Again, Scotland still conferring. Chatterjee consulting with her captain, saying, what kind of miracle would you like? Gabby Lewis stands ready. It's been a lovely knock, hasn't it? I don't remember Gabby Lewis taking any chances. I know there were 1 or 2 chances elsewhere, but and she's played that very, very well, very quickly onto that, and just pushes it out into the offside for a single. The batters confer again. Laura Delaney doesn't even have her gloves on, So they're in no rush to get on with this. The glove goes on. Delaney stands poised again in that crouched stance and just nudged into the offside. Well fielded, nice shy at the stumps, good cricket all round, good running. It's a bit soul destroying, isn't it, when the ball can go straight to the fielder and yet they can still take a single. When you're chasing your tail as the Scots are at the moment, it's not an easy game to play. Fetched round the corner, well fielded down on the boundary, another single. And Laura Delaney just getting herself ready, pulling up her trousers, a little adjust of the headwear. That's a little scoop round the corner as well, and I think that will go for 4, and I think that's enough. The umpires don't agree with me though, so there must be one more required. I reckon they're there. I reckon they're there. Nobody appears to have told either the umpires or the players, but I reckon we are there. It's showing 91 on the ground scoreboard and it's showing 92 on a number of others. It's rather delayed the celebrations of the Ireland team, who think they've finished. The umpires are standing there saying, no you haven't. And just to be certain, Laura Delaney has been asked to score another run. These things can happen, can they not? These things can happen. But the umpires going by the scoreboard on the ground scoreboard, and why shouldn't they? To be fair, and according to the umpires, there is one required. So I might well be one ahead of myself here. So the field comes in, apart from deep square leg, everybody's in for the single. So big shout, and well, they will talk about this later. Laura Delaney is out LBW to a ball that perhaps should not have been bowled because the match might well have been over. She shrugs and raises her hands heavenwards, having those similar thoughts, I would have thought. Well done, it's a wicket, well done Scotland. You can do no more than carry on playing if the umpires say carry on playing. We might iron out this little hiccup later. But it means coming out to join Gabby Lewis is, I believe, Sophie McMahon. On one of those hiding to nothing innings. You can score no runs, really, but you can get out. Does anybody like coming out with just 1 or 2 to get? And very nice round of applause for Laura Delaney as she reaches the players' area. And a dot ball there. Well done, Prernaaz Chatterjee. Keeping going, fighting right to the very end. A wicket there in what will be her final over, without much doubt. My screen, you see, there we go, the umpires are right. My screen in front of me has gone back to saying 91 for 3. So you can't trust technology all the time, can you? 62 was the partnership between Lewis and Delaney. And that was the sort of thing that was missing when Scotland set the target in the first place. But all credit to Scotland. We are now in the 17th over. There was a time earlier in the Scotland innings when it looked as if they wouldn't be setting much of a target at all, but they've set a target that's taken Ireland at least until the 17th over. And Scotland are fighting tooth and nail to drag this out as long as they can. Darcy Carter, I think that was, who fielded that, and it's caused them a little bit of discomfort. Oh, and a chance put down. Certainly didn't decide the match, but would have been nice. Ireland scamper through for a final single. It is indeed now 92 for 3. Ireland have got there with over 3 overs to spare. It's been a very business-like, professional chase of what was a modest target by Ireland. Let's run you down the card as we look at them as the players come off there. It's been an excellent knock from Gabby Lewis. Looking down there, Gabby Lewis, she opened with Hunter. Hunter scored 10 off 14. Gabby Lewis still there at the end with 53 runs off 51 balls. And you can't do fairer than that, can you? Orla Prendergast didn't really get going and was bowled for 1 of 5 balls. Laura Delaney, who formed that impressive partnership with Lewis, was eventually bowled leg before by Chatterjee. She's got 25 of 28 balls and hit 3 fours in that. And then at the end was Sophie McMahon, just came out to complete formalities. In front of me I can see all the teams, well, all the players congratulating each other. There's the card for you to see. In terms of bowling, it wasn't a day for the bowlers really, but nobody was desperately expensive. Catherine Bryce, no wickets, but went for 17 at 4.86 and over. Chatterjee, who we saw bowling at the end, got that consolation wicket at the end. 4 overs, 1 for 20. Olivia Bell bowled well and cheaply, 2 wickets, 4 overs, 20 runs. So, sorry if I'm humming and hawing. My screen went off then in front of me and I thought, what am I going to do now? And it's come straight back on again. Rainey, 2 overs, went for 15. Maqsood, 2 overs for 8. Nice economical couple of overs in there. And Carter, 1 over, which sadly went for 12 runs. So there were only 3 wickets taken, 2 by Bell, 1 by Chatterjee, and Ireland get home comfortably in the end. I would say the performance undeniably there was Lewis, Gabby Lewis, certainly the batter that caught the eye. I don't know where the player of the match will go to. There was a nice knock earlier on that never goes to the losing side, does it? A nice knock earlier on from Darcy Carter, who held the Scotland innings together. Scotland contrived to give away wickets earlier on. It'd be hard to know who to give it to. There were various bowlers that I think perhaps if it were my choice and it isn't for player of the match, it would be on debut. 3 overs, 2 for 8 would have to be Alana Dalzell, but it's not my choice of player of the match. I don't have that authority. I will leave you to view the scenes here at Desert Springs as once again the wind goes up and I grasp for pieces of paper. Come back tomorrow. I will no doubt witter on about the weather tomorrow as well, but there will also be a fantastic women's international cricket match here, the last match, match 5 of the Celtic Challenge. Ireland women versus Scotland women, 2 o'clock Central European time, 1 o'clock Ireland time tomorrow. Come back here, same place, same time. I will see you tomorrow. This is Tim Ames wishing you a very good evening. I'll see you tomorrow.